You've manifested yourself into a human I can depend on to bring me happy.
Hey, thank you for another return to your view screen for your favorite Star Trek talk show, A Captain's Log. That's right. We're Bryan and Lili, and logic is the beginning of the wisdom, not the end.
Not the end.
Now, you've made the logical choice to join us.
You mean join us as in mind meld? This is a quote from our favorite Trek actor Leonard Nimoy's Spock regarding wisdom.
Absolutely, because we need your tractor beam. We need you to tractor beam us.
Right. You mean little old us?
Hardly little. You have a big heart and a big mind.
Well, because the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. Another quote from Spock in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
It is, absolutely.
Captain to Ambassador Kreutz and Commander Fox-Lim.
Go ahead, Captain.
There's a subspace message priority 1 coming in from Harper Dhadde on from Murrieta's shuttlecraft. This is an urgent security and engineering top clearance communique.
Understood, Captain. Please route this to the ambassador's quarters.
Ambassador and Lili, I've been receiving comm traffic from Joanna Fabergé on the influence of Star Trek and science fiction on real science. From an engineering standpoint, which is my specialty, a remarkable device known as a replicator, aka molecular synthesizer, is a machine that can create almost anything out of thin air, but is particularly used for food and drink.
Understood and received, Harper. Now, this would and could soon resolve world hunger and assist with prosperity in bountiful ways.
Ambassador? Bountiful.
Yes.
You know, we're taping this show in LA and that word's not used in the vernacular today. But I'll let it pass since we're on a green screen studio talk show emulating a 24th century set of vocabulary vibes from the future. Okay, Harper, please continue, and you're making me hungry.
Thank you, Lili. As with numerous memorable Star Trek technologies, the replicators are primarily responsible for inspiring developments in today's technology, which use 3D printing to create food sustenance, full meal deals, teddy bears, metallic items, building materials, and even complex machine parts.
Indeed, Star Trek is far from being the only science fiction source of intellectually inspired dreams for such a device that can produce finished items from scratch. Well, where's your trivia item, Harper? Time to try to stump me, Lieutenant.
Thank you. The replicator uses the same basic principle as the transporter. The food replicator is not first used in the Star Trek The Next Generation episode Heart of Glory. Instead, the episode only mentions a food station. However, this is the food replicator shown clearly. Lili, what Klingon delicacy was ordered by the Klingons as a meal in this episode?
I also speak Klingon, Harper. The answer is Omat Gris to M. Pifiots.
Bro, what?
Bryan, pardon me not using your title, but she is unstoppable. This makes 4 episodes now. I will delegate my duties to Joanna the next go-around and see you on the other side of the galaxy. Harper Dhadde, signing off. Peace and long life.
I know that's why she's a Star Trek symbol of adoration from fans. This is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, it's so cool. I love your Klingon.
Back in a moment to continue our interview with longtime California resident and actor Tommy Hinkley.
A Captain's Log returns in a moment.
Hey, welcome back to Captain's Log. Lili and I are continuing our interview with Tommy Hinkley. Now, Tommy's been widely known for his presence on the silver screen, including 1994's Star Trek Generations film. Hinkley made his feature film debut in the 1987 Paramount comedy film Back to the Beach, and subsequently appeared in the Academy Award-winning short film Ray's Male Heterosexual Dance Hall. The same year, he appeared as a lead character opposite Bill Maher in the short-lived Showtime series Hard Knocks. And Lils, I believe you have the next question.
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you, BK. Tommy, in the 1994 film Star Trek Generations, the Elorian refugee ships and Enterprise ship that you and your reporters are aboard are being battered by the Nexus energy ribbon. Tell us about this fascinating bridge set with the mechanically rigged up devices to shake this all-star bridge crew. Shake of familiar actors, plus you and John Putch with William Shatner.
So, we're getting ready to shoot this when we do the ribbon, right? And so, are we under attack? We don't know. But it's going down. And everybody's like kind of panicked. And when you're outside the set and you walk to the set, you see the hydraulics underneath it. and it is huge. I mean, it was massive. And it was just like a work of engineering art to look at that thing. So you get on the set, and right before we shoot it, the first AD comes out and he goes, all right, I just have to remind you all, remember the railing that surrounds this all is wood. All right? They paint it to look like metal. We all know how it works. Do not throw your body weight on it.
So this is the Enterprise bridge railing on the set, yes.
Yes. It's made out of wood. You all know that. I'm just reminding you, don't put any weight on it. It's going to break. And we're all like, ha, of course, duh. You know, everybody laughs. Everybody knows, yeah, don't do this. Okay. So now we're getting ready. And don't forget to move around like you're under, you know, and you're like, you got to do it the old school way, as well as with the hydraulics. You still got to do this. So action. We're doing this. I'm down here sitting on the bench below the railing. Above me, behind me, is William Shatner, Captain Kirk. What does he do? He throws his weight on it. He's a big dude. He's a big dude. It just shatters. He lands on my back, flattens me down. He rolls off me, pops up, and everyone's like, cut, cut, cut. And he's like this, and he takes a bow, and everybody's like applauding, like, oh my God, you're amazing. Nobody asks if Tommy's okay. I'm just sitting there with broken wood on my back in this contorted mess. And everyone, you know, they escort him off. They got to fix the rail. Oh, actually, we have it. You know, we're good. And I'm like, all right, I'm still here. Anybody want to ask me if I'm okay? Brian, 6 months of chiropractic work.
What? Are you serious?
6 months. My neck and my back. I mean, my adrenaline was just pumped, so I didn't really, you know, I didn't think anything was happening. But, you know, a day or two later, my back locked up, you know, couldn't move my neck. So, yeah, Captain Kirk fell on me. Oh, by the way, never apologized. Never asked me if I was okay. Hey, thanks for breaking my fall, buddy. Nope.
Wow, no apology. How did that ultimately make you feel?
And it meant a lot to me, because you know, I grew up watching him on television as well, and all those guys. And it was my dad's single most favorite show. And I had to time it because he'd have to drive me to baseball practice or whatever practice I was going to. And if he was not going to be able to drive me to practice and get back in time to watch the show, then I'd have to find another way to get to practice. So I had to make sure that he could be there and back before practice started. Otherwise, I was screwed because he was not going to miss Star Trek. So that was a good one.
Tommy, as a reporter, you're recruited by Chekhov to be a nurse to help the Elorian refugees in sickbay, as the Enterprise B medical staff has also not arrived yet. Now, this popular British actor Malcolm McDowell is shown as a wounded refugee character. Tell us about this experience before he's sedated by Chekhov.
I was a big fan of his, and when I was studying theater in New York, a couple people had said to me that I reminded them of a young Malcolm McDowell and that I should watch his movies because he's a really good and interesting actor. And I did. And his movies were really weird. He had really weird movies. I'm like, I don't know if I want to. Now, the thing is that I don't remember the Chekhov thing. I don't remember that. But I do. Once you said that, I was like, oh, I do. I think I kind of do remember that now, but I'd forgotten about that. Interesting. Thank you for that, Brian. Thank you for your share. No, and he was super nice, by the way. Super nice. Everybody was super nice. And you know what? I mean, again, just going back, everybody that I grew up with on television, everybody was super cool. It was just, you know, William Shatner wasn't super cool. But
you're an athlete like Brian and I. Tell us what life was like hanging out with John Putch and also doing acting work with him and the other stars all together.
He's such a dear and old friend of mine because we played basketball at the Hollywood Y for years, and that's where I met a lot of my friends. But John Putch and I, he directed me in Tychus, which was a low budget action movie starring Dennis Hopper. and I was in that, so I got to meet Dennis, and then we did Men at Work together, John and I. We played the dickhead cops in the Garbage Men movie Men at Work with Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. That was super cool too, because Emilio wrote that script and he was starring it and directing it. And there was, God, at least once for sure, but I think there was even a second time where he'd come up to John and I and he'd say, "Hey, look, can you guys go over the scene with me? I mean, I wrote it, but I know it's funny and I'm having a hard time. Can you guys help me out?" But that's the kind of cool dude and kind of confidence he had, that he could just he knew that we were good at what we did and that we were funny, and hey, let's help each other out. The other thing on that one was, John had predominantly most of the lines. Like if he had 7 lines, I had, 1 or 2 or 3 in every scene. And I'm, and we're reading it and we're doing the first scene. And I'm like, I think it would be funny if I didn't have any lines. And Emilio's like, "Wait, what do you mean?" I go, "Wouldn't it be funny if he just did all the talking and I was like the strong arm and I just always got in Charlie's face, like whenever they were talking, because usually it was Emilio that was doing the talking. So what if I was just always in Charlie's face? Like every scene, I'm just like right in his face." And he's like, "I think that would be funny, but you really want to give up your lines?" I'm like, "Well, you're not gonna." "Yeah, I'm not. I'm getting paid the same, right?" He goes, "Well, yeah." I go, "Okay, so if it's gonna be funny, let's go with it." He's like, "Okay, all right, let's do it." So that was fun.
Now, you and John Putch are together on the Star Trek Generations film set in 1994. Now, you worked with many directors in your career in Hollywood, in particular at Paramount. I'm sure John Putch, who we interviewed earlier this season, is a director. Now, he's kind of close to the cast as a actor's director, right? Now, as actors, we've all had actors, directors, but talk about working with John and perhaps another director or two that has been influential in your career as an actor.
Tychus.
Okay.
But that was so long ago, I don't remember. I mean, just that he's so easygoing.
Well, this is it. Minky's welcome home.
Doesn't look like much.
Yeah. Yeah, use your imagination, boy. Gandry.
Here?
Right there.
He's really chill, and you know what? That's how I knew him. He was always, he never got overly excited. He never got, overly down. Really just even. And that is really a good thing to have a skill as a director, is to be even like that. Not too high, not too low. And I mean, that was his basketball game as well. And by the way, he's a really good basketball player. Okay, I'm going to segue. You ready? Sean Ryan.
Sean Ryan, yes. Oh, yeah, The Shield was a hit FX network show. I love that one.
We were buddies. He played ball with us at the Y. And we would always cover each other because we were like the same size and build. And so we were both pretty good basketball players. So we guarded each other a lot. Well, he went up for a shot and I went up to block it. And then he went down and he went back up. And let's see. So he went up, I tried to block it. He went down and then went back up. I landed on his back. And then when he went back up, it flipped me over and my head was about 5 feet off the ground. And then bam, head slammed into the hardwood. And people came running from the next gym over because it sounded like somebody hit a baseball bat. And ambulance came by. I went unconscious and had a major concussion, cracked the back of my skull, bruised my brain tissue. And I would say for maybe a year or two, at least a year, I would tell people go like, "Oh my God, if I haven't seen him in a while, like, how's your head?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." And they go, "And that was with Sean Ryan, who you were guarding?" I'm like, "Yeah, and you know what? He never came to the hospital to visit me." They're like, "What?" I go, "Yeah, Sean Ryan never visited me in the hospital." Then a buddy was walking by one of the parties, overhearing me tell the story, George Clooney. Oh, I dropped the name. Let me pick that up. There it is. Yeah, George Clooney. He's like, "Tommy, what are you talking about?" I go, Sean never came and visited me in the hospital. He goes, Tom, he never left your side. He was there the whole time. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, I've been bad-mouthing him for a year or two. Never left my side, didn't remember it at all. He did cast me for 2 episodes, though, on The Shield, so that was cool. And we're still in touch because he's a good dude.
Being in this industry, you see actors like your brothers or sisters. Sometimes it's like a family. And there's still a lot of people trying to get into this fraternity. So there's probably a good, sad story you're a part of on a film or TV show that's bad or good. Or who's someone that you can trust and is like a family member to you? And what advice would you tell new upcoming actors who want to get into this exclusive club known as the industry?
Okay, so we talked about John being super even keeled as a director. George Clooney, he cast me as Hambone Man, which is in the deleted scenes in Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. We shot that for 2 weeks in Montreal. I mean, I shot my part. As a Gong Show contestant, Hambone Man, doing the whole shot. That was pretty fun. And he's so fun to work with. I worked with him on ER. We did Leatherheads together, which was the most fun. And Renee Zellweger, John Krasinski, Wayne Duvall, and Stephen Root, and Jonathan Pryce, and Renee Zellweger, and George, and John Krasinski. And it was just all these cool people, and they were all super cool. But because half the film took place in the newsroom, the other half, the football field, the football players, I was one of the football players, I was hard leg. We were running around like we were in college again, all these young guys. I mean, I swear that was the reason George cast me, was because I was the oldest by a few years, to kind of wrangle everybody and keep some of the young guns, some of the single young guns out of trouble and out of jail, because we were on location for 3 or 4 months in the South and North Carolina. But that was really a lot of fun. And Renee Zellweger, one of the boys, man. If she had the day off and she knew we were doing something fun, she'd come in and hang out with us. And she was really, 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 really sweet. That was a good ride. And we're still friends. I mean, talking about the friends and brothers and sisters, we have a thread line called the Leatherheads, and we get together. We get together for lunch at least twice a year, maybe 3 times a year, and that's since 2007. And Stephen Root still joins us. Malcolm Goodwin, Tim Griffin, Nick Panessa, Robert Baker, Keith Loniger, who was a real football player. He played in the NFL. He has passed, but we still get together and we go support each other in plays, see each other in plays and movie premieres, and it's pretty good. Also, George cast me in Failsafe, which was live television, and that was crazy. I mean, on my set, we had 3 sets or 4 sets, was it 5 sets? But we had 24 cameras. I think it was 4 or 5 sets, and it was all live and it was all happening. And on my set, because we rehearsed like a play for 3 weeks before we did this live, was Sam Elliott, James Cromwell, Brian Dennehy, John Deal, and so I had a small part George gave me as one of the pilots, a line or 2. And a couple weeks go by, same setup, and he goes, Tommy, I need you to do me a favor. I go, George, whatever you need. He's like, well, this one guy got a job and he can't do it, and I need you to do this other part. I'm like, yeah, of course I'll do it. He goes, well, it's a bigger part. I go, yeah, I've done bigger parts. He goes, no, but you have this paragraph. It's like almost 2 paragraphs, and it's technical dialogue, and you can't get it wrong, because it's how to break the code to turn back the plane from dropping the bomb, kind of a thing. And you can't screw it up.
I can imagine you would have said yes to a full scripted page or multiple paragraphs because it's George Clooney.
Yeah, exactly. So I do it. Now, we rehearse for 3 weeks, and I never screw the line up. Not once. Never screw it up. I get it right every time. On the day of the run through, the day of the night we do it, I screw it up. I'm like, that's the first time I screwed it up. Doing it live tonight. So as it's coming up, I've got like a little scene here, a little scene here, and it's just always there. It's always there in front of me. Like it's coming up. I'm like, okay, you just gotta, do it for George. Do it for George. I'm like, well, no, that's dumb. You're not gonna do it for somebody. Well, you know what? Your dad just passed. Do it for your dad. It's like, oh, that's kind of not cool. Do it for your dad. No, I just, you just got to be in the moment. That's what you're about. You're about just being in the moment. That's what it is to be an actor, is to just be in the moment. So just trust it. Nailed it, kid. Nailed it. When I saw my wife afterwards, because everybody, all the wives and girlfriends and family were in the neighboring theater. We did it at Warner Brothers. And when we came out, she saw me, she goes, "Oh my God, honey, you were amazing. It was so fun."
After Star Trek Generations, you were on the hit NBC TV series ER with George Clooney. At this point in your career, it's really starting to take off for you in Hollywood. Just talk about this experience.
It was actually way before that. Because ER was fun. But yeah, it was way before that. It was actually soon after Back to the Beach. Because I was being seen for everything. I mean, look at, I was, as you said, I was 3 for 3 and at Paramount and doing leads. And here was this young actor coming up out of nowhere. So they were seeing me for everything. And, there was a movie that was called Serpent and the Rainbow that was supposedly a true story about voodoo. And this guy, I think his name was Wade Davis, the guy that wrote it and experienced it. And I was auditioning for the lead in that, to play him. And I saw, in the audition process, I went in a number of times and I saw Kiefer Sutherland. I saw Kyle MacLachlan. Who else did I see? I saw some other big actors, and they had narrowed it down to me and Bill Pullman, and they couldn't decide. And they brought me in, they brought him in, they screen tested us. They couldn't decide, screen tested us again. It was something absurd. I think we screen tested like 5 or 6 times. They couldn't decide. And he finally got the part. But it was kind of then I was like, okay, this was for the lead in a movie. This is not, I'm sharing it. This is the movie. And even though I didn't get that part, it was like, I really did feel like, yes, I belong. And I was like in 90, I did like 5 or 6 guest stars on different TV shows. In 91, I did another like 5 or 6 guest stars on TV shows. Working with Tony Danza on Who's the Boss. He was great. What a great guy he is. And working with Chrissy McNichol, on a show. And I loved her because I loved Family. I loved that show. I had a crush on Buddy, her character's name on Family. And it was just, it was just such a great ride. But well before ER, I kind of knew, it was happening and feeling good about stuff. And again, it was just once it got into an older age, then I was just not working as much. And then I left the business, but now I'm back in it. Nose to the grindstone. Right on.
Hey, Tommy, talk about the Florida Project.
A movie that Willem Dafoe did a number of years ago that I did like a lot. And he owns some, Florida weird rundown motel. And then there's an actress with a kid or two, and maybe she's got a heroin addiction that she's battling. And it's a great story. And she's the lead with him. And he found her online. And so she had done some kind of a blog or something. And he had seen it. And he just ran across it by accident. And he was like, oh my God, that's the person in my head when I wrote this character. She's that character. And so he contacted her. She had never acted before. So he brought her down 3 weeks before the film to shoot and brought her down there to the motel and just worked with her on the script for 3 weeks, just honing this down. And she was amazing. And that was because she just put herself out there and somebody saw it. It's a roll of the dice. I know I've met a lot of actors and actors that are friends of mine that never made it. And they're doing something else. And I thought they were super talented.
A captain's log returns in a moment.
Welcome back to A Captain's Log, your premier Star Trek source for news and interviews with the crews and hues of hour-long happiness on TV and film. BK, I believe you have the next question for Tommy Hinkley, our guest.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you. Now, do you have a most memorable moment, Tommy, from your time on the Star Trek Generations film set that maybe you've never told, or perhaps a cool story with John Putch? Talk about this.
Yeah. So James Doohan. So he was such a pleasure, and he was inspiring because he was just so happy. He was just a happy guy, and he enjoyed talking about his life and talking about Star Trek. And he was, I was a willing listener. And, he told me about World War II and when he lost his finger. And he told me that I can't remember if it was giving him problems after many years, or there was something they could do to maybe relieve some pain, but he was going to get surgery, and they wanted to do some surgery on his hand where he was missing that finger. And they told him it would be a recovery of like at least a month or two where he wouldn't be able to use the hand. And he said, I can't do it. I can't do it because I do these Star Trek conventions and I need to be able to sign autographs for everybody because the fans are the reason I can still support myself and my family. So I'm not going to do the surgery because I can't not go to these conventions and see the fans. And I just thought, he was a great guy. And then he gave me a refrigerator magnet that had a cartoon of it had him sitting down in a chair like he was down in the boiler room or something. It said, "Beam me up, Scotty," or something like that. And I think I still have it in my memorabilia box, like buried deep in storage. But I do wish I still had that in the fridge. I'll have to go in there and dig deep for it. But yeah, it was pretty funny. And he had a bunch of them. So if you were listening to a story, he'd give you one. Super cool. Super cool.
Tommy, it was great having you on tonight's show.
Well, listen, thank you so much.
Yeah, it really was a pleasure having you on, Tommy. Thank you for sharing your incredible stories and having the best spirit ever. Now, it was a pleasure. We'll see everyone next week on A Captain's Log.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.